and very happy to see you. And we'll do a big screen in a minute so that we can see each other. And for this first round in the year, it's the first online event where we do an outreach to partners. And I'd like to introduce also the team to you who are here. Whoops, sorry. I'm doing something wrong. The team to you. So the ECOLISE team that prepared today's meeting. And I'd like to start with Enrique, who I see on the right. So hello, Enrique. We have Maria Sanchez, communications lead at ECOLISE, joining.
Hello.
We have Laurence Modrigo, who has joined the policy team just 2 weeks ago. Hello, Laurence.
Hi.
And we have Katarina Bokoyanis, who helped us immensely in preparing this event.
Hello.
So great to see you joining. And for those who are still joining, welcome to this first outreach event of the year, Call for Campaign Partners by ECOLISE. And we're gonna do a quick look at the agenda. So what expects us today? We're planning to do this event until 18:30, so it's 1 hour and a half. And we're going to do a check-in. So the aim of this event is also for us to get to know each other, the campaign partners, both existing and potential campaign partners. We're going to tell you, where are we in this journey? Because the ECOLISE campaign has been prepared for 2 years now. And we're going to tell you where we are in the journey. And I can hear some noise in the background. Maybe Enrique, you could. So also the context, Laurence will give you the context. Why campaign? So why bother? Why campaign for a strong European Green Deal, and why campaign for citizens and community-led initiatives? Go vote. I'll tell you about the goals of the campaign because we want you basically to sign up as campaign partners or to stay in touch, so as in a loose way, so that we can support each other. There will be plenty of space for Q&As because we realize that we have amazing people in the room, so we want to talk to you. Katharina will introduce us to the campaign mechanisms. The campaign is about storytelling, and we have storytelling trainings coming up in March until May. Then we'll tell you about the partnership concept. Being a partner is simple, but you can get more involved. So that's basically the message of today. We'll do an energizer and then have breakout rooms where we get to know each other in the room. So basically how you can benefit from the campaign, but also how you can contribute. And then we'll do next steps and check out. And the especially important message here is the deadline. If you want to be engaged and involved in the storytelling trainings as a partner, then the 11th of March is the cutoff date for applications for this storytelling training. And now I'll just go to the first question, and it's a Slido question. And it's a simple one. So it's asked, what brings you here today? And we try to gauge a bit the reasons for being here. And if you can go to Slido and type in the number or go directly by scanning the QR code. If that works for you. reaffirming our support to the campaign. That sounds very good. Curiosity. Support ECOLISE on the campaign. Lots of curious people in the room. Collaborative action to make a strong impact. Sorry, you're all named anonymous, but we will get to know each other, willing to learn more about the campaign partner's needs. We already signed up as a partner. Make the European Green Deal work in practice. Yes. Learning more about the campaign. Stronger voice. Time for collective action manifesto, a chance for Europe to take responsibility in the next electorate period for ambitious climate action. From Transition Spain, we're excited to join and contribute to the ECOLISE advocacy campaign. So I'm here to learn more and engage. So we basically know that we have in the room curious people, so people who are looking at ECOLISE and the campaign and probably don't know that much about what we're doing. And we have people who have been with us on this journey for probably up to 1.5 years already. Thank you very much for bringing that in. And oops. Just trying to, yes. ECOLISE. Who is ECOLISE? Most of you know that. ECOLISE is a European network for community-led initiatives on sustainability and climate change. So it has many functions, not only advocate, but also inspiration. That's Maria Sanchez, my colleague, the communications lead of ECOLISE. Cooperation, exchange, knowledge development. So it has many functions. It has what is the basis is eco-villages, permaculture, transition network, but also specialized members. So there's a strong academic base, such as Center for Alternative Technology Wales, Drift Rotterdam, and others. And why we're here today is for us that ECOLISE has been working towards this moment, the European elections in June, because we want to have a voice in these elections as community-led initiatives. So what we're really looking forward today is to ask you to be a partner for the campaign. And this message will be repeated. So we're trying to repeat the message. It's simple to be a partner. All you need to do is read the manifesto. We've got a link in the presentation, and my colleagues will also put the link to the Time for Collective Action manifesto into the chat. And then you commit to communicate this manifesto in whatever way you want. So whatever is possible for you, you communicate this campaign. We are planning for a peak of the campaign close to the European elections, and that's the day X, and we're trying to make a wave on that day. So it's really simple to be a campaign partner. If you want to get involved more, because ECOLISE offers capacity building in storytelling, but also in campaigning, you're welcome. And that's where the storytelling trainings begin to get interesting. And March 11 is the deadline for you as a partner to sign up to be part of the storytelling trainings. Where are we now? You have maybe been with us for a longer time, others haven't. So the Time for Collective Action manifesto is an outcome of a 1.5 to 2 year process by ECOLISE, where we had a deliberative or co-creation approach to community-led local development policies. So that was the 10 theses process. And we worked with around 900 persons from around 140 organizations over one and a half years to get to this time for collective action manifesto, which is, if you like, an output of this long process. It's the voice of collective action, of citizen-led initiatives, and it positions them towards the Green Deal. And here on the right, you can see the 7 key messages, key demands towards the European levels that we have articulated together. Community-led initiatives, and that's the main message also of this campaign, are very diverse. So the thing that unites all community-led initiatives is that they are citizen-led, citizen-driven for strong sustainability, and they can take on many forms, and they can happen in energy and agriculture, so mobility, so they can be everywhere. And we have just put here, for those who are not familiar with community-led initiatives, a few examples, what they can do: community-supported agriculture, local action groups, co-housing, community gardens. So there is a lot of diversity in this. The Collective Action Manifesto was launched last year, and many of you were there on the 7th of November with over 500 people present. And you see Philippe Lambert of the Green political group in the European Parliament in the photo. And we actually got really good feedback on the manifesto, because it opens up a choice. So key message 2, and we'll talk about the key messages today a bit, is about the right to have a choice to live sustainably. So we're trying to say those people who really want transformative change and strong sustainability action right now don't have the choice to live a sustainable life, because the system's limitations don't allow for that. And that's a new approach in political language. What are we building on? I told you that we had a 1.5 to 2 year process preceding this moment today, and we've worked with process partners until last year, and you can see their logos here. And we're building on this strong alliance this year, and we have about 30 campaign partners already, and we will welcome everybody who is in the room and who already signed up. So that's a big woohoo, hooray, and thank you. We're looking forward to working together with you. This leaves me to introduce Laurence. Laurence Modrigo, my colleague in the policy team. Laurence, why should we campaign? Why bother about these European elections?
Well, yes, indeed, the why campaign. Well, there's 3 things I would like to share as main message of my intervention today. Is that first, this year's elections, the European elections, they will set up the scene for the 5 years to come. So it's now the time to campaign, to influence the programming of the 5 years to come. And, you know, this is really a make or break moment for the European Green Deal. We've seen that it's in danger. Actually, today, I live in Brussels, and all day I've been hearing the trucks of farmers taking the streets of the European Quarter in Brussels to demand action for fairer living for them. So, you know, the problem is quite often this is seen as a call to limit the European Green Deal, which is not the case for all farmers, certainly, but that's the situation we are in this year. The second point is the next 3-5 years are crucial for setting the political framework for climate action. This is really the last moment to be able to curb the climate change and to live on a sustainable and livable planet. Finally, how do we get there? Collective action can have a big impact on these plans. You know, quite often we tend to lose hope in our possibility to change something, but we do have the possibility to do that collectively. So the European elections are coming up. Thank you, Nina, for going to the next slide. And that's not only the change of the European Parliament, although 60% of the Parliament traditionally changes during these elections, but that is setting in motion a whole range of changes in the other policy-making institutions at EU level. So the Commission will change as well. First, the President of the Commission might change or be re-elected. And all of the commissioners, the College of Commissioners together will change. Once they change, they will design their plans, the 5-year plans for policy making. That's why it's such an important year. And the Council at the same time is also involved and having their own changes, as we will also change the Council President. Next slide. Going back in time, 5 years ago, 1st December 2019, that's the first day of the van der Leyen Commission. So that was just before COVID. Look at how happy they looked. And just 10 days later, so Nina, if you could change the slide, please. Only 10 days in their position, the European Commission already introduced the EU Green Deal. So there was a huge sense of emergency that there needed to be urgent climate action, which we've kind of lost 5 years later. And the point is, why did they go so fast in presenting this? Next slide. Actually, Commissioner Timmermans himself did say that without Greta Thunberg, the Green Deal couldn't have started. This couldn't have been proposed. They needed that push that was given not only, of course, by Greta Thunberg herself, but by the whole Fridays for Future movement. Next slide. Going back in time, 5 years ago, the streets were taken by the Fridays for Future demonstrations. Kids started striking, and with them, their parents, and with them, millions of people. And so this was really what pushed the Green Deal. And therefore, collective action can have an impact. Why campaign now? So the second point is that, as you probably know, the current polls are not looking too good. We can expect a surge in radical right parties in the European Parliament. But that being said, it's always very difficult to predict the European elections. Nobody can say what will happen. So many things can happen in the meantime. So many events can happen with an impact on it. But what we know is that although there seems to be a surge in radical right voting, on the other hand, citizens actually ask for more climate action when they're asked. So this is a Eurobarometer survey showing that half of Europeans want more actions towards the green transition. So there's a lot to do. And on that note, I will hand over to Nina.
Yeah, thank you, Laurent. So there is hope. There's always change, and the predictions don't need to come true. And this is what leads us to doing this campaign here as ECOLISE. And you can see that as in permaculture or as in gardening, what we're doing, this campaign has multiple impacts. So it's not only about us trying to swing the vote towards a strong European Green Deal, which we are doing, but it's also a colibri approach. And those of you who know Pierre Rabhi, the colibri movement in France, it's bringing, doing our bit in the hope that it will add to something quite bigger. It's awareness raising, it's mobilization, it's capacity building, so campaigners, but also community-led initiatives that we target. We expect to have a capacity building moment of storytelling and campaigning and political action. And most importantly, it's alliance building, because we're building on a strong alliance of process partners from the 2 years before. And this year, we really want partners who say yes to the manifesto, the Time for Collective Action manifesto. So building an alliance of people who say that citizens need to be agents of change and communities as well. The theory of change, in case you're asking, is that we need systemic change and social change. So it's a theory of change which is based on Donella Meadows' work of transformative change and systemic change. The Collective Action Manifesto, the Time for Collective Action Manifesto, what we're trying to do is together with partners, and the goal is to have around 40 to 50 partners by the end of May. So to have partners coin their own messages or take up the messages that you can see here, which are the 3 key messages of the Time for Collective Action Manifesto, which come first. So support community-led initiatives as laboratories for transformative social innovation, which means that these community-led initiatives can trigger societal change. They can be inspiring for societal change. The key message number 2 is support the right to have a choice to live sustainably, which means right now, even community-led initiatives can't live sustainably within Europe very often. And if you read the Time for Collective Action Manifesto, you will understand why. It is because there are systemic limits to having a sustainable life today in Europe. And the key message 3 is harnessing the power of collective action for a strong European Green Deal, which is localized. And this is the message which says that community-led initiatives need a strong European Green Deal. Go vote in June. The approach of transformative change is something which might sound as if it comes from community-led initiatives, transition network, permaculture, eco-villages. So it sounds quite progressive, but actually, if you look at the IPCC, the 2022 report says actually that. It says we need a whole society approach, and the Green Deal says that as well. So it is conservative science that says that. The IPCC is about 2,000 scientists who take a more conservative view because they're working closely together with politicians and policymakers around the UN. And when we say we're lobbying for citizens and communities to be agents of change, it's always taken as agents of change. So it's not saying that citizens and community-led initiatives will fix the world, or all the weight of the transformative change needed is on citizens and community-led initiatives. What the IPC says and what the manifesto says as well is we need systemic change, which enables and facilitates this change in behavior and lifestyles and social change. So this is the framing that's again coming from the IPCC, a conservative body of scientists. Who do we target? Actually, who do we want to reach? So who are the target groups of this campaign? It's, for one, the staying in the garden progressives, so people who are engaged in strong sustainability, permaculture, eco-villages, transition network, community-led initiatives who are ECOLISE members. But it's also activists who are engaged in resistance right now, like Fridays for Future, but also other activists, and make them aware that political action is needed. So we need to vote for a strong European Green Deal. Youth and vulnerable citizens and communities are as well amongst the main target groups. Policymakers will be the target group all along, so the goal of the campaign is to influence policymakers all along. And we want to build strong alliances with you, with the campaign partners, so that's a third target group of this campaign. If we look at the timeline, then we can see outreach and alliance building is now, so up until March. Then we will have from March to May the storytelling trainings, but also outreach to citizens and community-led initiatives. Go vote for a strong European Green Deal, and all the way through outreach to policymakers at EU and national levels. And now we've talked a lot, and as we said at the beginning, we invite you to ask questions, but also anything about goals of the campaign or why campaign. We have a question time now. And I also invite you, if you want to ask a question, either to post your question into the chat or simply raise your hand and speak. So there is a strong colibri silence. There is no question. Anyone in the chat? Can my colleagues confirm?
No question in the chat.
No question in the chat. Okay.
Nina, I can ask a first question to break the ice.
Yes, please do.
Some people tell me, why do you keep pushing the European Green Deal? And you mentioned before quite fast, but maybe this is a question as well for the campaign partners to learn more about. No, why the European Green Deal, if it's in danger, and what's that danger?
Yeah. So what the danger is that if the conservative and far right political parties win a big majority in the parliament, then the support for this European Green Deal is going to be gone. Right now, the conservative parties, the EPP, is positioning itself as counter a strong European Green Deal, so no more ambitious legislations in the coming 5 years. Now it's time for implementation, and let's just stop the ambition of the Green Deal when it's about lawmaking. So that's the current situation, and the Green Deal is right now the most ambitious political answer to the planetary crisis globally. You might believe it or not, but there is nothing like it. And as in a good permaculture and gardening way, ECOLISE says, hey, this is good, this is happening now, so let's work with it. I can see Matthew. Matthew, you raised your hand.
Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nina. I'm a little bit late to the party, but I just also wanted to add that I think so we also initially at ECOLISE were a little bit hesitant about the strong Green Deal framing. And I think that with time, kind of what I think our view has kind of crystallized that in a sense that now there is actually a large portion of the Green Deal that, or not, maybe not all of it, but at least a good chunk of it that has been passed into law, and that we need to not only fight not necessarily for the continuation of the Green Deal in its initial form. This in any case will, at least we don't think it will happen, but it's rather to say we need to safeguard the achievements that are there, and especially push for their proper implementation, because that's often the weak point where we have these very ambitious overarching goals and even laws and things, but then when it actually comes down to the national level implementation, it kind of becomes watered down. So I think that's kind of one aspect, and the other aspect is to really also try and kind of keep these values central, and to also keep pushing forward so that we keep having a level of ambition in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Matthew. Any other questions in the chat or in the room? No? Then we can go on, and I seem to be not knowing how to do this. Katharina, over to you. What's the mechanism? How are we going to do the campaign?
So ECOLISE's advocacy campaign, it operates in a collaborative framework. It encourages participants to be a part of a bigger alliance. It's centered around the Time for Collective Action manifesto, which is a document that is designed and it's written to foster deep conversations around community-led initiatives, collective action, and sustainability. So how it works is that involves participants finding their own voices and creating a ripple effect by sharing personalized messages that are rooted in the manifesto's principles. And if you could go further, Nina, next slide. So why storytelling? So storytelling has a transformative power that it goes beyond awareness raising. It has a potential to change behaviors. It can shape behaviors through patterns. And which is very crucial when it comes to social environmental issues, where narratives can be catalysts for empathy and consequently action. So the storytelling lectures, how they work within the context of the core messages, what they do is that they empower participants to articulate their unique perspectives and experiences, finding their own voices, and explore their personal connections to the messages of the manifesto. And they're translating these reflections into compelling narratives. So moving on to the timeline, there's the first big date is March 11th, which is kind of a deadline for signing up as campaign partners. The first storytelling workshop is planned. Dates are to be confirmed, but it's going to be either the 26th or the 27th of March. But there will be 2 preparatory meetings for campaign partners, one between the 11th or the 13th of March, a second one between the 20th and 21st of March. The second storytelling workshop will take place in Spain in a hybrid form at the ECOLISE General Assembly. And there will be one preparatory, it's between 8th to 10th of May. And there will be one preparatory meeting, which is online, between the 23rd and the 30th of April. And moving on, this event and both storytellings will result in a harvesting and the communication that will be part of a public outreach on a day before the European elections, which is the only date that doesn't need confirmation. So that is the general timeline of storytelling.
Yeah, thank you, Katarina. So this was quite rapid, but we will repeat the dates, and we'll also send you the presentation on the slides. And we're recording this meeting, so you can come back to that. Now that you've heard about the mechanism, it's about storytelling trainings for a small part of the campaign partners who are willing to go deeper. So this is really voluntary, and if you're up for it, if you're interested in capacity building and storytelling and campaigning, come and join us. What we're aiming for is a diversity of voices around these 3 core messages of the manifesto. But as I said in the beginning, the main message that we want to relay here is that being a partner is actually really simple. So it means read the Time for a Collective Action Manifesto. If you're convinced of the content, then tell us and communicate or commit to communicate this campaign in your networks in whatever way you wish. So talking to your neighbors is also communication. If you're willing to be involved as a campaign partner, then here is on this slide, in a nutshell, what ECOLISE offers, and we'll go through that in the rest of the slides in more detail. It's capacity building. It's a strong alliance which puts actually citizens as agents of change and communities as agents of change at the forefront. So not citizens as victims only, but also as agents of change, which is a vision of people and citizens which needs to be strengthened in policy making. Social energy in this strong alliance, food for deep conversations in the Time for Collective Action Manifesto, so a basis for you to engage in conversations. We also planning, and that's what my colleague Maria will tell you in the next slide, support for this storytelling in many ways. And what's also worthwhile mentioning is a few ECOLISE members like RIPES, ECON, but also the CTC, so the Collectif pour une Transition Citoyenne in France. They're planning campaigns as well. And Climate Action Network Europe, EEB, and others are planning a campaign for the European elections as well. And ECOLISE, we're trying to be also relaying the synergies of these very different campaigns. if we have a look what ECOLISE offers, Katarina just spoke about the storytelling training. So we're right now looking for the expert team who will lead these storytelling trainings. And we've received 30 applications for that, which is amazing. And we will know by the end of this week who will accompany us on this journey. We can offer campaigning expertise, so from the policy team of ECOLISE with Laurence and me and others. And what ECOLISE offers is support for the storytelling that you can do yourself. And here I would like to hand over to Maria Sanchez of ECOLISE. Maria, what does ECOLISE offer?
Thanks, Nina. So we will be building, we are developing a microsite where people will be able to sign the manifesto individually. So as campaign partners, all of the individuals in your organization are going to be welcome to sign, and for you to share the microsite, which will contain all the information with focus, because at the moment it is still hosted in Communities for Future website, where there's a lot of information, and we want to have this space that it's easy to share, easy to gather all these signatures as well to support our message towards MEPs and policy makers, not only before the European elections, but also after the European elections, where we can keep putting some pressure on policy makers. The outcome of the storytelling workshop will also be, or this storytelling workshop will also be an opportunity for Felicidad Collective, who's our creative partner for the campaign, to create a communications toolkit that is useful for you to coin your own messages, and it will hopefully help you create the content that you need and that is more aligned with your organization. And that is something that we will be supporting you, as well as harvesting and collecting all the stories and images and content that you will be sharing as part of as campaign partners. I'll pass it back
Thank you,
to
Maria.
you.
Thank you. And here you can see a slide which shows the same in many different languages. So we have the Time for Collective Action Manifesto in here you can see 12 languages. So there is a lot of variety in how you can use this manifesto. And in a nutshell, this is the benefits of joining this already strong alliance. This is the question time. So any questions, you can put them either in the chat or just raise your hand and ask a question. The campaign mechanisms that Katarina Bukoyanis presented, the storytelling trainings, and the partnership concept.
There's a question in the chat, Neha Basnet.
Yes, sorry, I could not see a reaction for hand raise, something like that. So just a quick question, because I have recently joined this community with ECOLISE and community for climate action. So I was wondering, like, is there a formal process for us if we want to promote or if we want to campaign and collect stories? Are there any formal processes that we need to fill out or follow, or is it something that, because we have just applied to become member, just wanted to understand.
Yeah. This is the formal process. So I guess you filled in the Google survey, and one of my colleagues can put it maybe on the chat again so people can see it. And this is really it. So you sign up in this Google survey as a campaign partner, you upload your logo, and we have a database where we collect the campaign partners who say yes to the manifesto and yes to being a campaign partner and communicating the campaign in whatever way. This is it. And you can join as individuals or as organizations, because the whole process also that ECOLISE has put in place is about direct democracy. So we want everybody also to be able to take a direct political action and contribute to change.
Okay. And when you say, okay, probably I have missed some points, but when you say storytelling, does it have to be like, is there, you have mentioned, like I picked up the point, it is more flexible. Its storytelling could be anything, but could you give us or give me an idea, like when you are talking about storytelling, what aspects or of, you know, what should be there in the content, what
Yeah.
needs to be captured?
Yeah, that's a good question. So either you want to be part of the storytelling trainings, and then we will really coin also your own messages together with you. And they're going to be messages around the core message. One is community-led initiatives and collective action is needed. And there is a strong science backing for that we need. If you think of energy cooperatives, that's an easy example. The biggest impact on renewables comes actually from energy cooperatives, which are citizen-led. So this is core message one. We are strong, and we could be even stronger if there weren't systemic limits to what we're doing. In the case of energy cooperatives, this problem has been solved on an EU level. So energy communities are legally accepted, but there are still ways to make this better also in national member states. Or if you're an eco-villager growing sustainable food around your eco garden without pesticides, there is a farmer spraying pesticides. Right now, you can't do anything against that because the EU law says it's okay. And that's the message number two, the right to have a choice to live sustainably. So you could frame it that way. And the third key message is very basic. Go vote for a strong European Green Deal, because we need to have that localized and implemented and ambitious in the next 5 years as well. So this is about playing with these core messages. And if you want to be a storytelling training partner, you will coin these messages with us. If you're somebody coming in later or you don't want to be part of the storytelling trainings, you can do that as well. The storytelling toolkit that we will provide by April will allow you to play with that message yourself, or you just retweet and like and communicate the messages that ECOLISE and partners bring.
Okay, that is also helpful. Thank you so much. But I will definitely like to be a part of the storytelling training or even contribute to that. Yeah.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you. Good to hear that. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Any other questions in the chat or yes, Nina?
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for this event, and thank you for this initiative of citizen and organization campaigning. I think it's great, and I really like to see it. As a citizen who is interested maybe to join this movement, I was wondering how much do you estimate the time commitment would be for a random citizen like myself? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nina. If you join, we have made an estimate. If you join the storytelling trainings, you have a time investment of 12 hours, because that's the time it takes, the trainings plus the preparatory workshops and your own communication around these trainings. So sending your own message, and that's really up to you. That can be, you know, a one-off at the peak day X, that you communicate something together with the Alliance, or that you can just control and say for yourself. But if you're part of the storytelling trainings, it would be around 12 hours.
Thank you.
Thank you. And do we have any other questions? No. Then what does it say? Ah, right, that's a good one. So this basically lets me make me breathe a bit. It's our energizer, and for an energizer, I invite us first of all to take a good look of who is in the room. And I know we have some people who have switched off the camera, which is fine as well, but those who want to be seen, just because for me it's always an energizer just to see people. Hi Vishnya, Estelle, so we know each other. I can see ARC 2020, Alison, hello. Annette from Permaculture Germany, Johanna from the Scottish. Hi. So very good to see you all. Olivia Saxer of Climate Action Network Europe. And so we can see each other. I simply invite you to take a good look of who is in the room. We can see Magali of Celle, Luxembourg. So I can see lots of people who are already partners. Exactly. And Vishnu is doing some movement, and actually this energizer is not about sitting and staring at the screen, but it's something which ECOLISE brings in. It says, you know, your body too has some needs and wants, and it's not only our brain who needs food all the time, but you can just take the time and stretch and do whatever your body likes to do right now. And I bet it's actually not looking at the screen. So if you have something green outside your window, it's always good to just rest your eyes on something green for a moment. And also just observe your body right now. How do you feel? How is your breathing right now after hearing all this stuff about the campaign, about collective action? And then maybe you found out that your breathing was going a bit shallow. And we slowly return to the screen. That was a small energizer, and it's just one indication of the ECOLISE way of doing things, which is doing things a bit differently. And I think we all can learn to play with the way we do things, and it's actually fun. So I have a hard time now getting back to to the screen. I'm just focusing on all of you, and that's the best way. So great to have you back. This is what we've been doing. We've looked at something green. And now we come to a fun part of this, which is the networking part. So we invite you to get to know each other. And we're going to have 4 breakout rooms with my colleagues here, Laurence, me, Maria, and Katarina. So you will be with one of these people in a breakout rooms. And the question is, what's your motivation of being here today, and how could you benefit from this campaign? So it is really about hearing from you and what suggestions you have, how you could benefit from this campaign. And my colleague Katarina is setting up the breakout rooms. So coming back from the breakout rooms, maybe each breakout room can just do a bit of a recap what you talked about. The question was, what's your motivation to be here? But also, how could you benefit from being a partner? And maybe there are a few people who would like to share. And it's again one of these moments where we can actually see each other and not look at a presentation, which is great. And my colleagues can start, but if there are people who just wish to share something in the plenary, then please go ahead.
I can start with breakout room number 4. We had a great team from Scotland, Spain, Vienna, Belgium, individuals and organizations. Transition Network Spain, a Scottish Climate Action Network, Economy for Wellbeing. So it's interesting that the right to live sustainably is a very relatable, even in Scotland, for example, that is not not as interested in the European elections, and there are many we said that there are many ways that messages can be coined around the core messages, not only focusing on EU but in a broader context. So what else would I like to say? That even and also that the Transition Network is getting more engaged into local politics, which is interesting, and this could be like a stepping in point. And from Scotland also that that election, like climate action, is more acknowledging more and more the need to get engaged with elections. So, right.
Thank you, Katharina. Then it is about maybe room 2. Whoever, no, that was you, right, Kat? Room 2. No.
Room 4, and I don't know if
Room 2
somebody
would
would like to comment.
was ECOLISE. So about room 2, so we had a chat about the motivation. We got to know each other, and the motivation expressed was to hear about the European elections and get involved. Another motivation was to hear about the manifesto, and from the outside, more generally, outside where we all are, and to discuss a project that goes beyond economic growth, which is what a participant was confronted with in his location. People only caring about the economy, doing quite well, and therefore not super willing to talk about beyond growth. Something we discussed is collective action and how we can work together to achieve these aims. Then we had a discussion about the youth versus the not so young, about whether the youth is motivated to be active for the environment, and part of the youth is, while others don't seem to be, and the same with older people. So depending on where you stand, the young and the old are willing or not to engage. At the end of our chat, we had a new participant who joined and shared her first time with ECOLISE. So had a crash course on what ECOLISE is and what we do, why we're here. And so we will send you more about that, Aisling, after that meeting. And Aisling is working at setting up a regenerative company, which sounds very promising, and therefore we look forward to hearing more from her. So that's it in a nutshell on what we discussed. We wanted to keep on going discussing, but we were pushed out of the room.
Thank you, Laurence. And we have room 3, which is Maria, right?
So in our room, we were a majority of ECOLISE people, and Visna was feeling a bit alone now. But yeah, I guess like we had more of an internal reflection, Amelie, Enrique, and myself, on how we could contribute to the campaign and how it could benefit ECOLISE as well. We were talking about the willingness to have an impact on the campaign, and also yeah, to gather as many people as possible, basically. Enrique was also talking about, yeah, he brought this idea of like how each party brings in a lot of policies and a lot of, no, and sometimes it's when you're as a voter, no, you're buying the whole package, as he called it. I found that interesting as well. Like, and we were also talking that there will be scoreboards that we will be sharing mostly from other campaigners that are also working towards the EU elections, and to also allow voters to see which are the parties that are taking action in the same line, no, that community-led initiatives are working or benefiting our own needs. Then Visna was mentioning that there's the permaculture there in Croatia on March 10th. And for instance, one of the questions they are launching is why permaculture and activism need to go hand by hand. And this is also, this campaign as well is also sparking, no, some ideas that can be brought to that conversation. And hopefully that's at the end of the day, the goal of the campaign, that we can all learn together, that we can all open up the conversations. And when, for instance, when Neha was asking about the storytelling workshop, I think that's all about the campaign that I've been learning through the last year that since I joined ECOLISE now, this way of doing things, that it's about all learning together and building capacity for all of us to be able to coin our own messages and to yeah, that's a little bit the goal of it as well. And I also brought up this idea of trying to maybe mainstream more the term community-led initiatives, and that people who are already part of community-led initiatives can learn about it and how we can, you know, widen up the term as well. So a lot of people can feel represented as well from the manifesto, in the manifesto. Yeah, a little bit of everything we talked.
Thank
Back
you,
to you.
Maria. Thank you. In our breakout room, I was very pleased to hear from Neha that there is a group about collective impact, so collective action forming. We had people from Bangladesh and from France and from Berlin/Brussels with us. We also had the Climate Action Network Europe, Olivia and Annette from the Permaculture Institute Germany. And just bridging from what Vishnya brought, that there is this wish to connect activism and community-led initiatives. So you could say resistance and constructive resilience, so constructive projects of building an alternative or many alternatives, and resistance of going to demonstrate, which is both needed. And we also talked about that. It was Annette who brought up the solar camps, Fridays for Future. Some people say Fridays for Future activists are tired. There is a certain sense of, oh, we've been pushing, and where is the outcome? And FFF, or Fridays for Future, is now also going towards concrete action, like the solar camps. So they build actually solar panels, or Fridays for Future also connecting with the trade union movement. So there is change in the way activists act, and our wish is to build bridges. We heard from Olivia that Climate Action Network Europe, what I had said before, is offering great materials. They'll be ready by, I think, March, mid-April. So scoreboard or scorecards of past votes of MEPs, political groups, not only on EU levels, also on national levels, that will be available. And what has the EU done for you, which is a question that many people ask themselves, and Climate Action Network Europe will shed some light through that. ECOLISE's campaign and the campaign partners are about also sharing these collective impact tools. So I think with that, I'll just have a look at the watch. I know that Maria is the best timekeeper there is.
We are in time.
We are in time. Great. So I suggest to just have a quick recap. So what we have presented to you today is basically that it's simple to be a partner, and it only means that you read the Time for Collective Action manifesto and say yes to the content. and that you commit to communicate the campaign on day X before the elections together with the Strong Alliance, however you can and however you want to do that. So from social media to doing an event to talking to your neighbor, anything you do is welcome. If you want to be more and deeper involved in what we're doing right now in March, the storytelling trainings will start in March and go through until the beginning of May. Then please sign up for the storytelling trainings until March the 10th or March the 11th. Our deadlines vary, but I think March the 11th is really the last deadline. If you want to be part of the storytelling trainings, which is a time investment of about 12 hours. The trainings are going to be online or hybrid in May at the General Assembly of ECOLISE between 8th to 10th of May. We're going to have one dedicated storytelling training day at the General Assembly, and the venue is near Pamplona in Spain. So it is for sure a nice opportunity also to meet fellow collective action people. Somebody, I think it was Neha, asked, how do I become a partner? And yes, it just means please fill in the survey, upload your logo in the survey, and we have a database where we keep track of the campaign partners. We have so far 30 confirmed partners, and we want to go to about 50 partners until end of May. So that is simple. If you're interested in the storytelling trainings, sign up by March 10th or 11th. There is another link in this slide, which we will send to you. And also, please save these dates. I've heard from a few people that March calendars are filling up. We're going to confirm these dates by the end of this week. And this is just a slide which lets you know, please save the dates in your calendars already for the first training, 26th or the 27th of March, for the in-person training or hybrid also training at the General Assembly. It will be the 8th, 9th or the 10th of May, plus preparatory workshops, time investment overall 12 hours. So that's a big thank you to all of us who made this event here possible, but also to all of you who came and who are interested in the campaign. ECOLISE's policy team is offering open office hours every second Monday in the month between 4:30 and 5:30. And you can follow this link which says register here. Also, if you're interested, like if you have any open questions, if you're not sure about anything, register and let us know, and we'll follow up with you. And I think that's the point where I can stop sharing the slides, and we can just have another moment to look at each other. And we usually do a checkout at ECOLISE, and I've run out of good checkouts because I just like looking at people so much. But maybe somebody can come up with a good checkout question. Katharina, you look skeptical.
What do you do usually? Like what kind of?
What do you do usually? Usually we say, please, in one gesture or in one word, relay what's your feeling after this 1.5 hour. That's a typical checkout question. But you can be creative. Like we've already had, if you wore a costume in Carnival and dressed up as the Time for Collective Action manifesto, what could you wear? This is the creative.
Oh, good question. Yeah.
That's a good question. So just something which lets us leave this small room.
I can start. I think I would be dressed up as a colibri with all the colors available.
Oh, yeah.
Feathers.
Maybe I will just become a design a costume with the world map, something like that.
Nina, can you repeat the question again? I got lost.
If you were to dress up as the I get a echo. Can somebody else repeat the question?
I can repeat. It's like if you were to dress. I almost get an echo.
Somebody can repeat the question who is not an echo?
Are you in the same room?
No.
No.
How about
How
we just make a gesture?
Let's go for a gesture.
Gesture.
I want to say, do you hear me?
Yes.
You
You're
don't
the
have.
only. Yeah.
I think I would be a parrot, repeating and repeating the messages we need to say parrot until the election day.
I'd be
a what?
Planting seeds. A gardener planting seeds.
Yeah. Very good. I think we've run out of creative ideas. Thank you so much for having been